Anna here to my right is a nurse. She works at the Birmingham Children's Hospital in the pediatric ICU in Birmingham, England. Cezara Bora is a pharmacist in Romania, the head pharmacist in her pharmacy. And then Claudia Bogol is a pharmaceutical rep and a physician, also from Romania. So we're excited to have them here on the stage with us today. So ladies, I want to start off the panel with asking a question. As a person of science, and having been trained in science, you have chosen to be involved in doterra. Why the involvement with doterra?
It's the first time when I'm speaking on a stage with so many people, so a little bit of So as a professional, I have chosen doterra because it provides me another world of being healthy. And in the university, I have learned some things that I have learned in doterra. And this is about healing. And in doterra, I have learned a thing that made me so proud that I discovered doterra. And that is the medicines treat us, and the plants are healing us. And this is something important because in doterra I have learned how not to depend on medicines, and this was very important, and this was something critical for me because I didn't want all my life to depend on medicines. And I don't want this for my patients. That's why I feel that I'm so important to tell everybody what to do to prevent and not to treat.
It's also my first time up here, so I'm so yeah, just put a little bit of frankincense on, so that's already kicking in. Okay, so when I was introduced to doterra, my brave upline, come and approached me, which was wonderful. And it's nothing about being a nurse that I joined doterra. I joined doterra because my sleep was horrific. My fatigue, my energy was so low. I used to cry a lot, especially on the intensive care for 12 years. It's been really quite soul-destroying at times. So, excuse me if I get a little bit of emotional today. So when I had the oils, as well, I used to get quite sick a lot with recurrent tonsillitis. I was always in bed quite poorly on antibiotics, and the first time I used doterra to really help me with the flu, frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard, and melaleuca in my water, and the first time I had that experience, I was sold. That was it. I knew these oils were so powerful. And I started on Lifelong Vitality very quickly, and I realised how much better my sleep was, my energy, my whole well-being. And I thought, oh my God, I have to share these products, because as healthcare professionals, we are the ones that probably need it the most, because we work such long shifts, it's exhausting, and our lifestyles in healthcare, they're pretty damaging. You know, we work 13-hour shifts, we work through the night, we don't get our breaks, and actually we're the ones that need the LLV the most. So it was, for me, it was those experiences, absolutely, from the beginning, all of those little experiences, and I was just blown away by the impact they had so quickly on my life. So that's it.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Hello everyone. I have a funny story with doterra. doterra was a shock for me. I'm a doctor, and I also worked for many years in the pharmaceutical area in sales. So I saw many people addicted to all kinds of drugs, and for years I looked for solutions. One day, it was the end of February 2017, me and my dearest best friend Ronella got a phone call from a guy that we used to work in the past, from Hungary. And he told us, guys, I need to show you something. What is it? And he told us just this, it's about love and care. And of course we were curious, so we went there, and imagine my disappointment when I saw these oils, because I didn't know anything, literally anything about the oils. No one around me used it, or I heard to use someone. I never read it about essential oils. I didn't know anything. Guys, if you want to approach doctor, please understand they are skeptical. That's it. That's the first point, you know? Because we are not learning in school about the plants, only about the drugs. This is the real fact. Okay, so I'm sitting there all disappointed, and what are those? And what's the sting? I didn't understand absolutely anything. And this guy, Vasikari, who's our sponsor, he was so excited and put it a lot of oils, and I didn't understand. He put lemon oil in our water, and I was like, I don't drink that. What is that? I was so skeptical. That's why I'm laughing every time I meet with a skeptic person, you know? And 2 hours later, and a huge headache later, he pops up the question, the magical question that changed my life. Who has a headache? I said, I do. I want to go home, I don't understand anything. It smells bad, I don't want this. And the oil that changed my life and began my journey was fast tense. And 2 minutes later, something happened. I was full of energy. It's hard for me now to sit on this chair, you know? I was full of energy and my headache was gone. And guess what? I said 100% is placebo. No, this is not possible. No, it's placebo 100%. You know? And then he asked us for some samples for home. I said, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what I want. So he gave me some lavender. I remember now, 2.5 years ago, looking on YouTube and internet what lavender does. I had no idea. So, I have 2 kids, they are teenagers. And you know that teenagers like to stay late in night. So I put them some lavenders without telling them what is it, because I didn't know. I'm just ready to relax, that's it. So, I was shocked that 2 minutes later, they are asleep. I thought they are messing with me. I said, what is this? It cannot be placebo. And then, it's how I began my journey with doTERRA. And I'm fascinated every single day of my life. Yes.
That's awesome. We spoke yesterday about the idea that when you talk to a healthcare professional, they have to have an experience. She had an experience and was completely surprised at it, as was I. In my first experience, that's what caused me to look into this. You mentioned something that I want to talk about for a moment. Some of the challenges of healthcare professionals is dealing with the emotions of what we do every day. You mentioned we typically are working long hours. We're dealing with patients that are often very sick, and we take on some of that baggage ourselves. We have some emotional challenges with that. Yeah. What are the things that you do now that you have doTERRA that helps you support a healthy emotional system, a healthy emotional response to those challenges?
It's going back to what we teach in the Natural Solutions class. We all know the wellness pyramid, the nutrition, the eating right, the sleep, the reducing toxins. So actually, it's really simple, isn't it? So it's going back to that, because actually if my nutrition isn't right, if my sleep isn't right, all of those things. So I live and breathe the class as well.
So all the stuff we learned in our training.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nutrition, sleeping right, yeah.
So if I didn't So with the oils and the supplements, we had an amazing talk from Vanessa earlier, thank you, that was really interesting. Actually, we need to be using them, and yeah, I have my daily habits routine, as I'm sure we all do. It's no different for a healthcare professional to have a daily routine to anybody else. So
I was talking to a friend of mine back in the States that is an OBGYN, and I was telling her, we were just having a social conversation about sometimes it's difficult as I am at work and dealing with some very challenging issues, and then I go home, and sometimes I bring some of those emotions with me into my home with my family, and I wanted to figure out a way to stop doing that. And what's interesting is she was not a doTERRA person, she was not a wellness advocate, and she said, you know what I do? I said, what's that? She says, I use frankincense every day before I leave work, because it helps me just kind of cleanse those emotions a little bit so that there's this breaking point between work and home. And so she smells frankincense before she gets in her car to go home, and I've been doing that ever since. It's an amazing benefit. Cesara, you mentioned in our phone call that you didn't learn at the university about how our mind and our emotions affect our health. What have you learned about emotions and our brains affecting our health since that time?
I really don't remember a lot from the university, and I think is that because you learn and you remember something when you think is useful for you. That's why in doTERRA I have learned that mind has a strong relationship with our gut, and in the university there were no correlations between this. And I have learned that we have to take care of about our emotions that can provoke us diseases. And I'm not afraid to say that because I had no idea. Okay, my emotion, I am sad and I'm gonna be ill. Yes. And the strong emotions and the shocks can do very bad to our body. And again, I am so thankful for that I am here with you in all this movement, because it's a great similarity between the chemistry of our body and essential oils. And when I was when Dr. Oswald was on the stage in Düsseldorf, I was like, oh my God, another scientist that explains so good the similarities. And guys, you know, I am so lucky to learn from you, from all of the doctors and the scientists, because in the pharmacies and where I work, there are a lot of medicines that are getting out of the market. And this is a big problem. Be careful what you are getting into your body, because they are very tested. There are a lot of years and formulations to put on the market a drug. And doTERRA is doing the same with their supplements, with the essential oils. In Romania, the Ministry of Agriculture is allowing the supplements on the market. So think about it. This is, yes, in the university I was making tests on the tea, on the loss, when you want to weight loss with the tea, and there was no green tea in the tea. Everything getting out of your good things, and it was scary for me. I was having in the university even the chemistry of the food, and nothing from the carrot, it's beta carotene, it was like 6%, and it has to be 60%. And it was a carrot from the earth grown in grandma's garden. And that's why we need to take care of what we eat. And the Lifelong Vitality Pack, they are the best supplements ever. They are tested. So in the pharmacy, you can't have trust that that pill you take is safe for you. And it is what it writes on the prospect that it is. That's why doTERRA gives us a lot of transparency and is very, very good with us, and give us a lot of scientific formulas and everything. So you are so lucky. And I want to say one thing, that you are lucky because having an account and using essential oils, in doTERRA, having an account, you have your little pharmacy. And you are your own professional. And you are so lucky with this one.
Yeah.
From university, we very much taught about healthy body systems, and that underpins everything we need to know, evidence-based knowledge. So we're obviously taught healthy body systems to be able to understand pathophysiology of disease. What we're not taught is the gut health and how that impacts everything else. So actually, surprisingly or not, I've learnt more my 12 months in doTERRA than I had in my nursing degrees. I've got 2, specialising in emergency medicine. So I'm great at leading a cardiac arrest and I can do that. But I was not taught anything about gut health, absorption and things like that. So I have actually learned so much the last 12 months in doTERRA by the resources that are already out there, and we can rely on those heavily because we know what you guys are doing for us. So I think we're so lucky, aren't we? We're so blessed to have all of that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There's so much that was missing out of our education, wasn't it? I mean, so much that now we understand was missing. At the time, we thought we were getting this really broad spectrum education, but when I think about the number of hours we spent in talking about health and how to help people stay and maintain their health was very few compared to the hours of pathophysiology where we were taught disease state and how to treat when things have gone wrong, as opposed to supporting when things were going right.
Absolutely, 100%.
So why is science so important? Why do we have such an emphasis on science as healthcare professionals?
For me, science was everything in doTERRA. Otherwise, I probably would remain at the placebo level. But when
There's a lot of placebo going on in the world.
My attention, I started to look, and all those clinical trials and studies, double-blind, randomized, opened my eyes because I believe that the studies bring out to the light and certifies the natural property of essential oils and therapeutical property of essential oils. And I think it's extremely important, and so I have a lot of doctors with me in doTERRA, and there are cardiologists, dermatologists, every kind on emergency, and we have a city with a hospital and emergency, and they have diffuser over there, and all the doctors are involved because they saw the science, because doctors are like that. We want to see science in order to believe something. So I encourage you to look up, because science is the proven fact that the oils work and they bring harmony in our body on a physical, mental, spiritual, emotional level. If my biggest wow was in therapeutical effects, my greatest wow it was on an emotional level. It's unbelievable what can do for our emotions and to heal ourselves emotionally, to feel good, to feel to a higher vibration.
Perfect, thank you. That's a lot of shocked doctors in your downline, it sounds like, who also
Yes,
had that experience.
yes,
Yes. How about you, Anna? Tell me about science as healthcare professionals.
So westernized medicine is very much embedded into us. Whether you're going into your doctor training, your nurse training, pharmacist training, it's we need the evidence-based practice. That's how we learn. That's how we develop our best practices, our skills, our knowledge. So without the research, we wouldn't be able to have the advances in technology, medical devices, in medicine. So it underpins everything we do. That evidence-based practice. That's what westernized medicine is based on. Unfortunately, what that doesn't always include is holistic alternatives, integrated medicine. Yeah, but the only way we can get there, absolutely, is to be holding and having those conversations and being totally brave when you are speaking to your doctor, your GP, is to be just having those conversations and building those relationships of your own experiences, because we are doing the research, we know that. We are even, you know, it's live now, isn't it? We're doing research now, it's ongoing. And until we have that research can take years, by the way. You know, it can take 2 to 10 years to plan, implement, get the results, get the conclusions before we can actually implement into practice. So this research that's going on now is really important to the future of our frontline healthcare, and we have to start somewhere. We all know plant medicine, it's not new. The literature is out there from years and years and years ago, and you mentioned yesterday that it's all been done, but it was never documented, right?
Right.
So we're all living proof of that. We are the research, all our testimonies are the research, but we have to do it in a way that healthcare professionals will come on board with that. And that's why these studies, this research is so important. So basically, don't be scared to have that conversation with your doctor, because you don't know where that might lead to. Hello.
You mentioned, you know, it's interesting, you mentioned that we're trained in evidence-based practice, right? But then when we get out into practice, we kind of reverse that, because there is this practice-based evidence where we have patients that come to us, they're using oils, and we begin to see the effects. There's some evidence that it works that we're finding in our practice. And so it somewhat reverses. Our patients teach us too. So that brings me to a question. Is it okay for us to challenge our healthcare professionals? As we're in their office, as we're dealing with a healthcare professional, is it okay for us as the patient, in that instance, to challenge those that are taking care of us, or that we've asked to take care of us? What do we think? Easy answer.
Okay, absolutely. Like, many of our doctors and nurses are frustrated by the healthcare system. If you actually have that conversation, they will, you know, they are frustrated. You can hear the frustration in my voice. I know how these oils can help in so many avenues, and that's why I'm getting my own project team together at Birmingham Children's Hospital. I am creating my own research project, because you know what? If I don't do it, who else is going to do it? So I'm so passionate about the oils because I know what they can do, and over the years I have just seen so much devastation, and really how could these oils have helped in those situations? You know, when I think about some of the things I've witnessed, some of the families that I could have helped along the way with these oils, it would have made a huge difference. So I've obviously worked in the extreme. I've worked in intensive care, where we see the absolute worst of the worst. But often children didn't always die from their disease. They sometimes actually, their little bodies, their organs would shut down from the pharmaceuticals, the toxicity of drugs on their liver and on their kidneys. So now I have the oils. Imagine how much we don't have to keep medicating these children. I say children, that's my background, adults as well. But can you imagine how different outcomes could be if we don't have to keep medicating constantly, and we can use these oils to help? So not just the emotions, but other things as well. Like, I hate medicating my patients. I really do. I just want to give everybody frankincense and put Intune on, and I wear Intune, and all the nurses and doctors will go past my bed space and go, "What's that smell?" And like, "Come here, I'll put some on you." So yeah, can you imagine like where this can take us? So many avenues: mental health, teenagers with oncology, terminal patients. There's not enough tools out there really to be able to support them, and that's where the oils come in. Just be able to hold their hands, the power of touch and put that one drop in their hands. I'm getting emotional talking about it because I know how much this is going to change people's lives. So don't ever be scared to have that conversation with your doctor or anyone. If you're in hospital and your child's in hospital, like, be brave, be bold, and really do have those conversations and those experiences. Because if Catherine hadn't have introduced me to doTERRA, I wouldn't be sat here today. So thank you.
When I started doTERRA, I had practically 3 jobs. I was working as a medical representative in the pharmaceutical field. I was working with a private clinic, and I had my own private medical office. And doTERRA for me was one-way ticket, because I give up all 3 to full committed to doTERRA. In the minute I bought the oils, I started sharing like crazy, because I couldn't believe how they work. So I was sharing to everyone, and I'm seeing and I'm seeing positive reaction, and I couldn't believe it. And that's why I'm telling you it was one-way ticket, because I cannot return to what it was. I cannot tell people to take drugs, Let me tell you another story. I arrived in Amsterdam on Wednesday, and a lady from my country who lives here, she's a nurse, come and pick me up from the airport, and on the way with the car, she told me about her life. We don't know each other until now. And she told me that I have some back pains day and night, all the time. And it's so simple in doTERRA, you just have to listen. That's it. You don't have to go hunt people. You just have to listen. In the first 2 minutes, you will find out something about him, her, And, well, we arrived at the hotel, and we stopped for, coffee or tea. And I told her, give me your spoon, because I need to give you some copaiba and frankincense and honey blue. And I give her some samples, and the next morning, I got a voice message from her, saying just like that, "Girl, what did you do to me? I wake up in the morning and no pain. I cannot believe this is not happening for years. I can't believe this. I have it on my phone." What more do you want? And the second day I was here, I got another message from her on WhatsApp. "Look, I had a very big pain on my tooth, and I put some oils that you gave me, and the pain was off in 5 minutes. I still cannot believe this." And she's registered already. So, is this amazing what we are doing?
That is great. That is great. Thank you. So I talked a moment yesterday about how to approach healthcare professionals. You were each approached by someone. Someone was brave enough to say, this person is known, they have a science background, but I'm still willing to talk to you. So any other advice about how to talk to healthcare professionals such as yourselves about doTERRA?
Yeah.
I am a proof of a miracle, so I cannot talk about. I can stop talking about this miracle because it has changed our whole perspective in our team. It was a big miracle with a little kid with neurological issues and locomotory problems, and with frankincense, he has almost nothing. And I almost started to cry because scientists and doctors, when saw this kid first, they said he has no chances and go and prepare for the worst. Believe me, the parents were devastated, and we sent them some oils and some medicine for his problems, and now he's almost a normal kid. And How you cannot believe that? Because after 6 months, the kid was going into the clinics on his own feet. How you cannot believe in chemistry? And this gave us a lot of strength to tell everyone that it's possible, and the miracles are possible, and the oils are a science in our life.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. Do you know doctors? Who knows doctors? Everyone. Yes. Are you afraid to approach them? I believe you, because you don't know what they will say. They are skeptical. And I think a good approach before the science part is to go to their personal issues. Even they are skeptical, put them some questions, see if they have any pain or I don't know what kind of issues, and give them for them, not for their patients. First, give them to try, because if the oils work for them, it will work for everyone. It's an easy way to approach them. Just try it and give me a feedback, and he will be here with us, for sure.
Perfect.
I mentioned earlier how a lot of doctors and health professionals are frustrated, certainly in the UK. And if you do speak to your doctor, if you have the time to, you'll actually find they are quite frustrated by the fact that they have a 10-minute appointment with you and it's very much scripted. They will tell you what you need, they'll send you for a blood test, most likely. Doctors like to prescribe or cut us up, they'll send us for surgery. Those are their two options. So actually be so brave and just have that conversation, because you said yesterday, you tell a doctor something and they'll go and do their own research, just point them in the right direction. They're eager to learn. Doctors, nurses, we go into the profession because we care. We go into the profession because we want to make a difference. Please understand that a lot of our medics are frustrated with modern healthcare. We can offer something different. We can offer something so unique. I said when I was a student nurse in my interview that where there is life, there is hope. And I honestly believe that we can provide hope to so many people. We do it every day. Every day you are sharing doTERRA, you are offering hope to somebody, someone that is at their end of their tether. I've heard so many stories that make me cry every day. You can see I'm an emotional person. But you know what? It's so true. So be so brave and have those conversations. Drop that oil in their hand and make them inhale it. Invite them to a class. We're no different, doctors and nurses, we're no different to anybody else, and they are probably looking for these solutions, just as you and I were. So, yeah, that is just the message. Just don't be afraid to speak to them, because they speak a different language. Doctors do speak a different language. I don't understand them either. Like, they speak a different language to me. But I get the gist of it. You do. You speak all these words I don't even understand. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the message. Absolutely. Please, I want you all, and I invite every single one of you to go out of here today and have that conversation with any consultant, any professor, any doctor. It doesn't matter who it is. We're all on the same page here, right? Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Good. Thank you.
I think just as a closing note, I think it's important to emphasize the fact that and you brought this up, that as healthcare professionals, we go into this profession because we truly care. We want to help people. That being said, to dovetail that into the comment of be brave with your healthcare professionals. You are in charge of your healthcare. No one else is. The physicians and nurses are there to help you, not to direct you and tell you what you have to do, but to give recommendations. So please don't be afraid to say, I'd rather not do that, what else do you have? Or I'd rather not do that, here's what I would like to do. You're in charge of your healthcare, not them. Please own that, and please don't be afraid to talk to your healthcare professionals and let them know, I want to do something different. than what you're recommending today. That's a very important thing. So, thank you to our panel. You guys are amazing, and we appreciate it. Thank you, guys.